I walked into Mom's bedroom and froze. My sister Miriam was standing at the dresser with her hands inside Mom's jewelry box. She didn't hear me come in. She was too busy looking at Mom's sapphire necklace, the one that sparkled like tiny blue stars when the light hit it. "Miriam," I said. She jumped and spun around. The necklace was still in her hand. For just a second, I saw something flash across her face. Guilt, maybe. But it disappeared so fast I almost missed it. "Esther." She smiled at me like everything was normal. I was just looking at Mom's things. You know, remembering her. I stepped into the room. My eyes went from the necklace in her hand to the jewelry box behind her. Grandma's pearl earrings were gone. So was the gold bracelet Dad gave Mom on their anniversary. "Where are the pearls?" I asked quietly. Miriam's hand moved to her purse on the bed. "Oh, those? I'm keeping them safe. You know, until we figure out what to do with everything." Keeping them safe. The words made my stomach hurt. I had been the one sitting next to Mom's hospital bed for 6 months. I held her hand when the cancer treatments made her sick. I listened to her stories about each piece of jewelry and what they meant. Miriam had visited twice, once at the beginning and once at the end. "Mom told me she wanted me to have the sapphire necklace," Miriam said casually. "She said so last Christmas." Last Christmas. When Miriam showed up for 45 minutes and then left because she had other plans. I looked at my sister carefully. She was wearing expensive clothes and had perfect hair. Miriam had always been the favorite, the one who married rich, lived in a fancy house, and made our parents proud at family parties. I was the responsible one. The one who stayed close to home. The one who dropped everything when Mom got sick. "The lawyer is reading the will tomorrow," I said, keeping my voice calm. "Maybe we should wait before we start taking things." Miriam's smile got a little tighter. "Of course. I'm just keeping these safe, like I said." She put the necklace back in the box slowly, but I noticed she didn't take the pearls out of her purse. After she left, I stood in Mom's room for a long time. I stared at the jewelry box. The room felt cold and empty. I pulled out my phone and looked at my recent calls. Mom's number was still there at the top. My finger touched it before I remembered. She was gone. And Miriam was stealing from her. When someone we love dies, we all handle it differently. Some people cry. Some people get angry. Some people, like Miriam, try to grab onto physical things because they're scared of losing the memory. But there's a difference between wanting to remember someone and taking things that don't belong to you. Miriam wasn't just grieving. She was being selfish. And the scary part? She didn't even seem to know it was wrong. Psychologists call this deflection. It's when someone does something bad but tells themselves a story that makes it seem okay. Miriam told herself she was keeping things safe. But really, she was stealing. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the pearls and how Miriam had smiled at me like I was stupid for questioning her. Around 2 in the morning, I got up and went to my filing cabinet. Mom had given me a copy of her will 6 months ago, right after the doctors told her she was dying. "Just in case," she'd said, holding my hand. "I want you to know what I want." I pulled out the will and read it by my desk lamp. My heart started beating faster when I got to the part about the jewelry. My jewelry collection is listed in the attached pages. Esther Marichin will make sure each piece goes to the right person. There were 3 extra pages. They listed every piece of jewelry, where it came from, and who should get it. The sapphire necklace was supposed to go to my daughter Sophie when she turned 18. The pearls were meant for Mom's sister, Aunt Linda, who had given them to Mom in the first place. Miriam's name wasn't mentioned anywhere in the jewelry section. I read the pages 3 times. Then I took pictures of every page with my phone. I uploaded them to 3 different cloud storage sites and made 2 paper copies that I hid in different places. Miriam thought I was a pushover. The one who would stay quiet to keep everyone happy. The one who always gave in. She was about to learn she was wrong. Growing up, I always knew Miriam was the favorite. It wasn't something anyone said out loud, but I could feel it. When Miriam got good grades, Mom and Dad threw a party. When I got good grades, they said that's nice, and changed the subject. Psychologists call this parental favoritism, and it messes kids up in different ways. The favorite child often grows up thinking they deserve special treatment. They believe the rules don't apply to them because they've always gotten away with more. The non-favorite child, me, learns to work harder, to prove their worth, to earn love instead of just receiving it. Neither way is healthy. But at least I learned responsibility. Miriam learned entitlement. The next morning, I got to the lawyer's office 30 minutes early. Mr. Morrison had been Mom's lawyer for 20 years. He was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. When I called him the night before and told him what was happening, he listened without interrupting. "Come early tomorrow," he'd said. "We need to talk before the reading." Now I sat in his office with the morning sun coming through the windows. "Your mother was very specific about what she wanted," Mr. Morrison said, pulling out a thick folder. "She changed her will 3 times in the last year. She signed the final version 2 weeks before she died." He slid a paper across the desk. I recognized Mom's shaky signature at the bottom. Her hand had trembled near the end, but she was still determined. "She called me 4 days before she died," Mr. Morrison continued gently. "She was worried about Miriam. A nurse told her that your sister had been asking questions about the jewelry and money." My throat felt tight. Mom knew. "Your mother wasn't stupid, Esther. She knew exactly what was happening." He leaned back in his chair. "That's why she made you the executor. Not just for the jewelry, but for everything." The door to the waiting room opened. I heard voices, Miriam's fake laugh, her husband Daniel's deep voice, Uncle Robert's polite greeting. Mr. Morrison looked at his watch. "They're here. Are you ready?" I thought about Mom's hand in mine during those long hospital nights. I thought about the stories she told me about each piece of jewelry, why each one mattered, who gave it to her, what it meant. "I'm ready," I said. We all gathered in the conference room. Me, Miriam, Daniel, Uncle Robert, Aunt Linda, and my cousin James. Miriam sat in the big chair at the head of the table, right across from Mr. Morrison. She was wearing the pearl earrings. Mom's pearl earrings. I watched her touch them without thinking, smiling a little. She caught me looking and smiled bigger, like we had a secret. Like she thought I was just going to let it go. Mr. Morrison opened the file and started reading. First came the boring stuff, funeral costs, bills, donations to charity. Mom had written down every single detail. Then came the house. Mom's house would be sold, and Miriam and I would split the money equally. The cabin in Vermont went to Uncle Robert. Her car went to Aunt Linda. Miriam shifted in her seat, impatient. I knew what she was waiting for. The jewelry she'd already decided was hers. Mr. Morrison turned the page. Now we get to personal items and jewelry. Margaret was very specific about these. He looked up at Miriam. She made a detailed list, and I'm going to read the whole thing. Miriam's hand went to the pearls again. She looked smug and satisfied. My pearl earrings, originally a gift from my sister Linda, should be returned to Linda, Mr. Morrison read. All the color drained from Miriam's face. My sapphire necklace should be saved for my granddaughter Sophie Chin until she turns 18. Miriam's mouth opened and closed like a fish. My gold bracelet goes to my daughter Esther, who stayed by my side and showed me what real love looks like. The list kept going. 23 pieces of jewelry. Each one had a specific person it should go to and a reason why. Not a single piece was left to Miriam. Instead, at the end, there was a note that Mr. Morrison read carefully. To my daughter Miriam, I love you, but I can't trust you with the things that matter most to me. You visited me twice while I was sick. You called on my birthday and Christmas. You asked my nurse about my money 3 weeks before I died. I heard you on the phone in the hallway, talking about how much my stuff was worth while I was sleeping in the next room. I'm not angry, honey. I'm just sad. I'm leaving you your share of the house and savings because you're my daughter and I love you. But my treasures, my memories, my history, those go to people who treasured me back. Nobody said anything. Miriam's face went from white to red, with blotches of color on her cheeks. This isn't. She couldn't have. I was there. I visited. Twice, Aunt Linda said quietly. In 6 months. I have a life. I have responsibilities. Miriam's voice got loud and shrill. Esther didn't have anything else going on, so she could afford to. To put my life on hold? I interrupted, staying calm. To take time off from work? To cancel my vacation, my daughter's birthday party, my anniversary dinner? To sleep in a hospital chair 4 nights a week? Miriam stared at me like she'd never really seen me before. You're wearing the pearls, I said. The ones you took from Mom's jewelry box yesterday. The ones that are supposed to go to Aunt Linda. Everyone looked at Miriam's ears. Mom said I could. She stuttered. No, she didn't, I said. You took them. Just like you were going to take the sapphire necklace. Just like you've been planning this for weeks. Mr. Morrison cleared his throat. I should mention that Margaret also wrote that if any items were taken before we settled the estate, Esther has the right to get them back. Daniel touched his wife's arm. Miriam, honey, maybe we should. She jerked away from him. This is ridiculous. Mom was sick. She wasn't thinking clearly. She was thinking very clearly, Mr. Morrison interrupted firmly. I talked to her 2 weeks before she died. She was completely alert and certain about what she wanted. This can't be challenged. Miriam stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. You turned her against me, she yelled at me. You poisoned her mind while she was weak. I looked at my sister and felt something inside me settle into place. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just clear about everything. I held her hand, I said quietly. I read to her. I helped her to the bathroom at 3 in the morning. I watched her cry when the pain was bad. I told her stories about Sophie to make her smile. I was there every single day, Miriam. Where were you? She didn't have an answer. The pearls, Aunt Linda said softly. Miriam, those were mine before they were Margaret's. I let her borrow them for her wedding and told her to keep them, but they were always meant to stay in the family. Miriam's hands went to her ears, protective and desperate. For a moment, I thought she might refuse to take them off. But then Daniel stood up, put his hand on her shoulder, and whispered something I couldn't hear. Slowly, she removed the earrings and put them on the conference table. I want them now, Aunt Linda said, reaching for them. Mr. Morrison pulled out a small velvet bag from his briefcase. I thought this might happen. He held it open while Aunt Linda carefully placed the pearls inside. Miriam grabbed her purse. This isn't over. I'll fight the will. Mom was obviously influenced. You can try, Mr. Morrison said calmly. But I should warn you that fighting it will be expensive and based on the proof I have, completely pointless. Margaret knew you might do this. She left detailed notes, medical records showing she was mentally sound, and signed statements from 3 witnesses including her main doctor. He paused. However, if you do fight it, Esther would have the right to take legal action for the items you've already stolen. That would mean investigating everything, including any other things that might have disappeared recently. Miriam's face went slack. I thought about the jewelry box and what else might be missing that I hadn't noticed yet. There's more. Daniel asked quietly, looking at his wife with an expression I couldn't read. All the fight went out of Miriam at once. She looked around the room, at Aunt Linda holding the pearls, at Uncle Robert's disappointed face, at James trying to stay neutral at me. I just wanted something of hers, she whispered. For a moment, she sounded like my real sister, the one I grew up with. I wanted something to remember her by. Then you should have been there to remember her while she was alive, I said. It sounded harsher than I meant, but I didn't take it back. What happened in that conference room wasn't just about jewelry or money. It was about years of complicated family dynamics finally exploding. Miriam had spent her whole life believing she was special. When Mom got sick, Miriam couldn't handle it emotionally. So instead of facing her fear and grief, she focused on material things. Things she could control. Psychologists call this avoidance coping. Instead of dealing with painful emotions, people distract themselves with other problems or goals. Miriam avoided her grief by obsessing over inheritance. I coped differently. I dealt with my fear of losing Mom by being present with her. That's called approach coping, facing the problem directly instead of running from it. Neither way is easy. But one way honors the person you're losing. The other way dishonors them. After everyone left, I stayed behind with Mr. Morrison to sign paperwork making me the official executor. Aunt Linda waited with me, clutching the velvet bag with the pearls. Your mother would be proud of you, she said as we walked to our cars. I just did what needed to be done. No. Aunt Linda stopped and turned to face me in the parking lot. You protected her wishes. Her memory. That takes real courage, especially with family. After she drove away, I sat in my car for a long time, staring at my phone. I had 17 missed calls from Miriam and 6 text messages I didn't read. Instead, I looked at Mom's contact one more time. Her profile picture smiled at me, from last Thanksgiving before the cancer, when she was healthy and laughing at something Sophie said. I whispered, I kept my promise, Mom, to the empty car and finally let myself cry. The next week, I spent 3 days at Mom's house going through her things. Aunt Linda came to help. Together, we found everything Miriam had taken. 3 bracelets, 2 rings, a silver compact from our great-grandmother, a vintage watch, all hidden in a drawer, wrapped in tissue paper. Weren't quick grabs, they were planned thefts. She must have been coming here for weeks, Aunt Linda said, shaking her head, while Margaret was in the hospital. I thought about those nights I spent at Mom's bedside, never imagining Miriam was using that time to rob our mother's bedroom. But when I called Mr. Morrison to report what we found, he didn't sound surprised. Your mother knew, he said. She hired a security company to install cameras 3 months ago. She never told anyone. She wanted to see what would happen. She has video? My voice cracked. Hours of it. Miriam coming and going, always when she thought no one would know. Margaret watched some of it with me. She cried, Esther. But she also said it helped her understand the truth. I felt sick. Why didn't she confront Miriam? Because your mother was smarter than that. She knew confrontation wouldn't change your sister. Miriam would deny it, make excuses, or turn it around somehow. So instead, she made sure the truth would come out in a way that couldn't be denied. That night, I went home and held my daughter tight. Sophie was 14, the same age I'd been when I first realized family wasn't always about blood, it was about showing up. Aunt Miriam called, Sophie said. She wants to talk to you. What did you tell her? That you'd call when you were ready. She paused, studying my face. Are you mad at her? I thought about that. Was I mad? Yes. Hurt? Absolutely. But underneath all that was something else. Sadness for the sister I thought I had and the realization that maybe I never really knew her at all. I'm disappointed, I finally said. That's different from mad. 2 weeks later, a letter came in the mail. Not a text or email, an actual handwritten letter from Miriam. Dear Esther, I've been thinking about what to say. Daniel says I should apologize, but sorry doesn't feel like enough. You were right. I wasn't there. I told myself I was busy, that you had it handled, that Mom understood. But the truth is, I was scared. Scared of watching her die. Scared of sitting in that hospital and accepting that she wouldn't be here anymore. So I ran away. Then I got angry at you for not running too. For being brave when I was being a coward. For making me look bad just by showing up. The jewelry thing. I can't explain it without making excuses. I wanted something of hers that felt valuable. I wanted proof that I mattered to her, even though I know I didn't earn it. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't know if I deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I see what I did. And I'm trying to be better. Your sister, Miriam. I read the letter 3 times, looking for manipulation or lies. But all I found was regret, raw and real and painful. I didn't respond right away. Maybe I never would. Instead, I focused on honoring Mom's wishes. I delivered the emerald ring to my cousin James, who cried when I told him Mom wanted him to have it. I gave the silver bracelet to a hospital nurse who had stayed late countless nights, reading to Mom when I needed a break. And I took Sophie to a jeweler to look at the sapphire necklace through the glass case where it would stay for 4 more years. Grandma really wanted me to have this? Sophie asked quietly. She said you have her eyes, I told her. She said the sapphires would match them perfectly. Sophie touched the glass case gently. I wish I could have said goodbye. You did, honey. You video called her that last week. You sang her that silly song, remember? She laughed, Sophie said softly. Even though she was so sick, she laughed. That was when I finally understood why Mom had been so specific about the jewelry. It wasn't about the money. It was about making sure each piece carried forward memories of connection and love. She wanted her treasures to go to people who would remember those moments, not just remember her, but remember being truly present with her. Miriam had never been present. And that was the real inheritance she'd lost. 3 months later, I ran into Daniel at the grocery store. He looked tired and older somehow. "Esther," he said, stopping his cart next to mine. "Can we talk? Just for a minute." We went to the coffee shop inside the store. Daniel bought us both coffee, and we sat in uncomfortable silence for a while. "She's in therapy," he finally said. "Miriam. Twice a week since the will reading." I wrapped my hands around my coffee cup and said nothing. "It's been hard," Daniel continued, "facing what she did and why she did it. Her therapist says she has this deep fear of not being enough. She thought having valuable things would prove she mattered. She mattered because she was Mom's daughter," I said quietly. "She just had to show up." "I know. She knows that now too." He looked at me with genuine pain in his eyes. "I'm not making excuses. What she did was wrong. But I wanted you to know she's trying to understand it. To change." I thought about Miriam's letter, still in my nightstand drawer. "Thank you for telling me," I said. "But I need time. Maybe a lot of time." "I understand." He stood up, then hesitated. "For what it's worth, you were amazing with your mom. Miriam knows that. It kills her, knowing you were the daughter Margaret needed and she wasn't. Here's something important. Forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same thing. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself. It means letting go of anger so it doesn't poison your own life. It doesn't mean forgetting what happened or pretending it was okay. Reconciliation is about rebuilding a relationship. That requires both people to work at it. It requires the person who did wrong to truly change, not just say sorry. I wasn't sure yet if I could forgive Miriam, and I definitely wasn't ready for reconciliation. But I was willing to see if she could actually change over time. 6 months after Mom died, I organized a small gathering at her grave on what would have been her 65th birthday. Just close family, me, Sophie, Aunt Linda, Uncle Robert, James and his wife. I didn't expect Miriam to come, but she did. She arrived late, carrying sunflowers, Mom's favorite. She stood at the back of our circle, uncertain, until I shifted slightly to make room. We shared memories. Aunt Linda talked about growing up with Mom. James told a story about Mom teaching him to fish. Sophie shared how Mom taught her to bake cookies and they got flour everywhere and laughed about it. Then Miriam spoke, her voice shaking. "Mom used to sing to me when I was little. This old lullaby her mother sang to her. I forgot about it for years, but now I keep remembering it." She paused, wiping her eyes. "I've been singing it to my kids. Making sure they know it. Making sure something of her continues." It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a big apology. But it was real, and that mattered. After everyone else left, Miriam and I stood by Mom's grave together. "Thank you," she said softly, "for letting me be here." "We're family," I replied, "even when it's complicated. Especially when it's complicated." I looked at my sister and saw something I hadn't seen in years. Humility. Growth. The beginnings of real change. "It's going to take time," I said. "Rebuilding trust." "I know. I'm learning to be patient," she said, smiling sadly. 1 year after Mom's death, I was packing to move to a new house. It was a fresh start, bigger space for Sophie and me, close to Aunt Linda for Sunday dinners, far enough from old memories that they didn't crowd every room. The doorbell rang. Miriam stood there with Daniel and their kids, wearing work clothes. "We're here to help you pack," Miriam said. "If you want us." I thought about turning them away. It would have been easier. But I thought about Mom's words, about being present, and I stepped aside to let them in. We worked all day, packing my life into boxes. Miriam was careful with fragile things, wrapping each item like it mattered. We didn't talk much, but the silence felt different than before. Healing, maybe. When the sun set, Daniel ordered pizza and we ate sitting on my living room floor, surrounded by boxes and exhaustion and something that felt surprisingly like peace. New beginnings, Miriam said, raising her paper cup in a toast. New beginnings, I echoed. Sophie, sitting between us, grinned. Does this mean we're going to have family dinners again? Miriam and I looked at each other. I saw my own uncertainty in her eyes, but also hope. Maybe, I said. We'll see. We'll see felt like enough for now. The last box I packed contained Mom's jewelry box, now almost empty except for a few pieces I kept for myself. The gold bracelet she left me. A simple silver ring she wore every day. Small earrings with no real value but had been her favorites. I ran my fingers over the smooth wood, remembering her hands doing the same thing. I finally understood what she'd been trying to teach us. The real inheritance wasn't the jewelry. It was learning what actually mattered, showing up, being present, treasuring moments before they became memories. Miriam had lost the pearls and sapphires, but she'd gained something more valuable, the chance to become the person Mom always hoped she'd be. And I learned that justice doesn't always look like revenge. Sometimes it looks like boundaries. Sometimes it looks like grace. Sometimes it looks like standing firm while leaving the door open for change. As I taped up that final box, my phone rang. Aunt Linda. How's the packing? She asked. Almost done. Miriam came to help. A pause. Your mother would be proud of you both. After we hung up, I looked around my nearly empty apartment. This chapter was closing, but a new one was starting. One where I honored Mom's memory not by holding on to things, but by holding on to the lessons she taught me. The jewelry would go to its rightful owners. Sophie would get her sapphire necklace in 4 years. The memories would be carried forward by people who earned them by being present. And Miriam, complicated, flawed, trying hard Miriam, would have the chance to write a new story with her own children. One where she showed up. Where she stayed. Where she learned that the most valuable inheritance was never about things at all. It was about love. The kind you prove with your presence, day after day, moment by moment. The kind Mom gave me freely. The kind I was learning slowly to offer my sister again. Because sometimes the greatest strength isn't in holding grudges. It's in holding boundaries while still holding hope. And that's exactly what Mom would have wanted. Please like, comment, share and subscribe for more stories like this, and if this is your first time of watching my video, please subscribe to my channel so that you get notified whenever I post a story.